Are just joining us now at the Family and End It Now conference here at KenCon Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm Tashai Grant, and here with me is my co-host, Keon Vaz.
Hi, everyone. It's been indeed a blessed evening. Learning a lot about the illusion of love. Communicating with grace was, of course, earlier this morning. And I just hope that persons who attended can take something away from these presentations and apply it to their lives. Right now, however, we're going to be getting into something a little bit more serious that is affecting, it's a global issue.
It's a global issue, and
go ahead.
And it's really not something that's highlighted enough. It's not spoken about
in our churches
as much as it needs to.
Yes. So this evening we're going to be looking at the issue of human trafficking, and Permanent Secretary Carl Palmer, of course, joins us, and we have Deputy Superintendent of Police Carl Berry, who is the head of the Anti-Trafficking Persons Vice Squad for the JCF. So we're looking forward to those presentations. Feel free to send in your comments as well as questions. We'll try as best as possible if we can have answers for you, but Lauren Vernal now is introducing the actual presenters for the actual next presentation. What do you think is going to happen when persons hear some information about human trafficking?
I personally think that many of us here this afternoon will get a reality check because it's not a highly discussing a topic that we discuss. We're not so sensitized to the matter that's happening. When we hear the numbers and when we hear
the news reports,
when we hear of the conditions that people are living in as the ones who are being trafficked, we're going to be getting a reality check. And I think that's what will be happening this afternoon, along with a bit of information that is needed.
All right, so right now we have Carl Palmer, Permanent Secretary, who's now taking our pulpit. And stay tuned as we present to you the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons. Stay with us.
Here? Okay, so just to get us going, we invite the junior ambassadors for the kingdom to come and make their presentation. Please encourage my brothers and sisters as they come to minister for us.
We don't want no violence round here. I just love we are round here. We don't want no violence round here. I just love we are round here.
Don't fight it out.
Don't fight it out.
Let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out.
And walk them out.
And walk them out.
Make a vow
to end violence now. Look around.
Look around. Do you hear the sound of abused children and battered women, angry men? When will it end? The earth are red with the blood of the innocent. Earth are red
from our acts of violence.
Put away the guns, the knife, and the fist. Let us practice love. Let us practice love. And let peace persist. We don't want no violence round here. I just love we are round here. We don't want no violence round here. I just love we are round here. Don't fight it out.
Don't fight it out.
Let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out.
And walk them out.
And walk them out.
Make a vow to end violence now. Here, there, everywhere.
Do you feel the fear?
Do you see the tears? Violence take over the atmosphere. People afraid fi walk. People afraid fi talk. Not even dogger bark. We're a violent nation. But that wasn't God's intention. Make we live loving, man. Make we live loving. We don't want no violence round here. I just love, we are round here. We don't want no violence round here. I just love, we are round here. Don't fight it out.
Don't fight it out.
Let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out.
And walk them out.
And walk them out.
Make a vow to end violence now.
It should be up here. I don't know. Good afternoon, everyone. DSP Berry is going to do the bulk of the presentation, but as a member of this church, I thought it was my remit to speak to the role of the church in this fight against human trafficking. Human trafficking is the worst crime in the world. Today, it is said to be only next to gun trafficking. It is international organized crime. And a few weeks ago, as we had our international conference, I made the point that I wanted to have a global movement. And I am calling on my church to start that movement. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is a global church. And therefore, just to get on board is very easy if there is commitment and interest. And I want to charge the church, firstly, with recognizing that it has responsibility for the welfare of our young people. We need to ensure that all persons who relate to young people, including their parents, care for young people. And you might say I'm out of order. But parents are selling their children into human trafficking. So I'm not far-fetched. Dr. Fowler from the United Church at the conference called out to pastors to get on board. And the United Church has now started to train and investigate persons who want to work with children in their church. And I am aware that there are persons who abuse our children. Children don't have lunch money. They need help to go back to school. And members of our church abuse them, trafficking in persons. So, we want the church, as you get involved because increasingly the church is asking us to make presentations, which we are happy to do, to get involved in what we are doing. Advocate for the dignity and sanctity of every human life. Remind people that God created humans to be like himself, not to be terrorists and to be traffickers of children. Ensure that it is a top priority of the church, the care and welfare of our children. And let me just say, our church also does education, and people in schools are abusing our children. Coaches and other leaders in the schools are abusing children. We've just had some clergy in the courts for these very matters of abuse that the children were singing about. And the United States, I don't know, the Pope is apologizing for the conduct again of the Roman Catholic leaders for abuse of children. It is happening here in our own church. And I am saying to you, the wealthy and the well-to-do are amongst those who are most at fault. The church needs to be the salt and light to the world. Take an uncompromising stance against human trafficking, because we like to hide everything. Ensure that it's top priority for government, and that's what we are doing. That is why we, the task force, is leading the fight for the government of Jamaica, and we are taking it everywhere. And forcefully advocate for change at every level. Because, you know, I've been chastised by persons that I am not to say that the conduct of persons to take children from rural communities into the more urban communities and exploit them. I am not to say that that is trafficking. But if the children do not go to school, it is trafficking. It's simply trafficking. And we must stand up for something. A lot of us, that's why crime is so bad in Jamaica. We know things, but we claim we are afraid. We are afraid to speak out, but at the same time we are being overtaken by crime. Influence policy by standing up for justice. Ensure that the issues of trafficking in persons never get pushed to the back burner. It must remain on the front burner. Make the church a major platform for counter-trafficking in persons advocacy, and the leadership of our church. Sister, yes, you are here. Any leader of our church who is here, I'm inviting you to partner with us, because I've been told many times, if you want to find your way somewhere in Jamaica, look for the Adventist church sign. So I want you to help us to get the messages into the boondocks, the nooks and crannies of our country. As I watched the news the other night about the people not having any water and how far they have to go to get water, it reminded me that that's another means for children to be trafficked. So we must do better. We must do better. We must take charge of it. The church says it is the leader and not the tail. It's the head and not the tail of what happens. Create meaningful partnerships and cooperation. Work with us. Show the world that we are passionate about this issue. Ask the big question, how can the church help? That's what I want from my church. How can you help? Help us to raise awareness in your congregations, as we are doing here this afternoon. Separate groups and expose them to targeted tip messages. Explain the extent of human trafficking. Challenge them to be watchful of possible trafficking taking place in their own communities. And if you help people to know what it is, then they can know what is happening. Encourage members to support those who may be vulnerable to exploitation. So, ladies and gentlemen, your congregation, every congregation everywhere in the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica must become aware. And I don't mean just know what it is, you know. I mean become aware of what is trafficking. And DSP will now tell you more. Who is a trafficker, what they look like, how they behave, and what's a victim's persona. Ladies and gentlemen, I hand you DSP Berry.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Church, for inviting us. You would have heard some of the things that we're asking the church to do, correct? But some might be asking, what really is it that we're asking you to go do, correct? Well, this is your time to help me to make sense of that. All right, I have a few tokens. And I have lots of tokens. So we have a lot of literature. We don't have as many pens. So we are going to do like what they did with the few loaves of bread. Was it? We are going to. So walk with me, please. We're talking about a call out. We're talking as well about a crime that in the year 2000, the United Nations suggested that it was bound to eclipse all other crime types as world number one. We're talking about a crime that is so lucrative that people who do terrorism, drug traffickers, gangsters have stopped doing those work and are now doing human trafficking. We urge you to pay attention because it's important that we get it right. I can take urgent questions up front. I'm mindful that there's a big clock and I'm prepared to work with all rules contained in the staff orders, all right? All right, fighting this scourge. We're talking about a fight that we must win. Sadly, in Brazil, when we did a regional operation last year, late last year, several church leaders were arrested. Guess for what? Human trafficking. So we need to know, because too often we kind of allow this scholarship to pass us. Because as far as we're concerned, we cannot be victims of it. Might I suggest that there's no age group that bars you from human trafficking? Absolutely none. And I can tell you why. So most of us are familiar with the three basic ways in which human trafficking manifests itself, correct? And if I were to ask you up front, the entire church in a chorus could tell me what human trafficking is, correct? Correct? If there's one among us, may I see the hand, please, who can articulate what human trafficking is? Brilliant. There's somebody to the rescue. Is there a mic that can be used to assist us? Do you want to go on record telling me what it is? Brilliant. Is there a mic though? Is the facility allowed for that? If not, there are two mics here. Can one be used? It would be nice hearing so that I know exactly where our start point will be. So gather your thoughts. You're about to get a mic and you will now tell us what you know human trafficking is. And I will suggest to you, you will earn the first pen, pencil, t-shirt, whatever it is, you will earn something. All right? So listen, go ahead.
Human trafficking is a scenario in which a human is being taken not by their will and is used to either sell their body or to do whatever the older of that person wants to do.
So, una clap the lady. That don't work. Clap don't play. I like some of the things you have said. And I'm glad that we are here together because we need this information. So you have the first prize. We have different things up here. Would you want to choose because you're the first winner? Well, let's go. I hope the camera will take you because it will be nice knowing that there is at least one person who knows something about human trafficking. I know that others of you knew, but you just didn't want to tell me or win the first prize. Fair enough? So, which do you want? Brilliant. So, the camera is on you. Pose with PS and take your prize, please. You need to pose with the PS. This is priceless. This is priceless now. Priceless. Brilliant. The natural smiles. Then say cheese. Yes, that's it. Brilliant. So you realize now that a fever has started. We want this one to go viral to the point where others want to answer my questions as soon as I ask them. But I want you to walk with me and slowly. She actually was turning 16 years old. Not yet 16, but going there. Grew up in the church. She actually was from that very poor background. Only a mother. Absentee dad. Sounds familiar? And mother was poor. Mother had another child, a male. He was doing odd jobs, anything he could do to support the household. They struggled. Mother borrowed most of the time. I won't name names, so she won't be identified from the community, to the point where nobody wanted to lend again. The girl went through school, and guess what? She got 10 subjects, all with straight A profiles. She, in accounts, did the best. And as a result, wanted to be an accountant. So she went to mother after receiving the results and told mother that she wanted to go to the university. Who wants to tell me what mother told daughter? Go look a job. Not the man one. Remember they grew up in church? So this one was a job one. So daughter took the smartphone that mother had scraped up some money, borrowed some, and purchased for her, and used the available data she had and started scrolling. She was nameless forever. And what she did and found was a job offering an accountant post in a foreign country. Glad she was. She realized that she qualified beyond qualification. So, being that good girl she was, and still is, she went to her mother and said, "Mommy, there's something available for me," in her own way of speaking. And mother, who wants to tell me what mother told daughter? Go try your luck. She saw a number and recognized it was a local number. She dialed it. And on the first ring, a female answered. And guess what the female said? "Lucky you. I'm about to leave Jamaica. Would you want to, though, still meet up for a discussion about the job?" Daughter, having heard that, spoke back to mother. And tell me what mother told daughter. Go try your luck. And they agreed on phone to meet in the Halfway Tree Bus Park. They had a quick discussion. Realizing that she was eminently qualified, they did an interview on the spot. She provided the necessary paperwork electronically or photographed in support of the application. She, guess what, was successful at the interview and told that she got there. Can you imagine how daughter must get up and now hearing is about to go? Can I get anybody turning 16 inside the church to just walk to the front? You need. So, here is the now female telling to you, your documents have been reviewed. You did well in the, you have no worry. Remember the story you were following so far? And below. Brilliant. Whilst they look around for what can fit them, and we urge them to wear them with pride, we continue the journey. Fair enough? So where were we again in the story? Daughter. So where is that aggressive daughter now? The one who could give us a little more on this. Anybody? You can? All right. So we'll accept that as is. But I'll do it for you. So daughter was in half a tree, but so they needed her to start January 10th, 2013. Daughter and mother, that she was willing to purchase the ticket. Only if mother will agree and daughter to pay her back little by little. That was agreeable to all. Easy. So on the morning, that's January 10, 2013, of travel, daughter woke up early, realizing that mother was still dressed in the same clothes she saw her in the night before. Mother was on the last set of breadfruit, rubbing it off, preparing the bag for her trip away. So daughter approached mother and said, "Mother," this is her words, "Mommy, me no feel like fi go." Is there anybody here who did not get that? Understand that, correct? Who wants to tell me what mother, upon hearing that, told daughter? Come, the mother who can tell me, come this way. Come this way, mother. I need a 16-year-old up here. A 15, a 17, come quickly, time running. Look at the clock. You're going to practice as a 16, come. Come, nothing is wrong. Acting is really for actors and actresses. So let's do this. And you don't have to be a professional, because I've seen serious things in movies. All right, the camera should be running on video mode. So you are the baby now, you know. And I think you might want to go somewhere where the camera can pick you up. So you might need a bag. You might need a bag. At least one bag. Just take up a bag, borrow a bag, yes. Because you're traveling, you know. So it's a morning of travel, and you were struck with a gut feeling. And you just decided not to go again. So you are now approaching mother with that story. Remember what to say. "Mommy, me no feel like fi go." All right? Let's do this. After 3. 3. You want a mic? Yes, 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 yes. Yes, indeed. I know time is running, but you want to hear at the back, correct? Brilliant, because you'll be the judge of this fact. So after 3, remember, perfect silence. Brilliant. 3.
Mother.
Oh, mommy, me no feel like fi go. And stop and give her, and she always do something, me don't know what.
Mommy, me no feel like fi go.
Actually, mother looked at daughter and said, "Girl, galang, you know, see the whole house want fix." Because they live in this dilapidated structure, and mother saw it as an opportunity for the house to be repaired. Mother saw the child finally earning. Mother saw independence and self-actualization for the child. Mother, the night before, was dreaming, seeing herself going into one of them money services places to collect remittance. So mother was really livid. So daughter acquiesced, did what she was told. Because in Jamaica, you know, we parent differently, right? There's no highway for the option. It's our way. Finish. So the child reluctantly went. She was delayed by 4 hours. Upon reaching, though, in the foreign country, she was told what to tell the immigration officer. That she was just there for a short while, not a big trip. She convinced them, because she didn't get the work permit before, and they gave her 6 months in the country. When she passed the immigration officers, she met her boss and quickly learned that her boss owned aircrafts, note the S. So she was no longer being asked to go to where the big aircrafts fly, but to the private jet hangar. Can you imagine how daughter now must have been happy? So whilst they were airborne going up, the huge aircrafts fly at 30,000 feet above ground, whereas the smaller ones hover at 15,000 feet. She realized that she was not the only person on the plane. When she looked behind, she saw what appeared to be criminal gunmen with Kalashnikovs, AK-47s. And one of the men asked her, "Who is here," asked out loud, "for the accounting job?" Daughter said, "Me, sir." They told daughter that they had no such job. They gave daughter 6 pairs of lingerie, and she was taken straight into a go-go club where she was ravished. She, having been abused, was met by the next abuser, abuser number 5. And abuser number 5 saw the tears and inquired, and she said, "Sir, I'm 16 at my next birthday." He was frightened. She told him what had happened. She trusted him out of everybody else. He left. He didn't abuse her. He went to the police, and because of what he did in that country, the police were able to rescue that female and have her safely returned. But not to her loved one, because what do you think the relationship between mother and daughter is as we speak? She ate her mother like or puss, whichever one you hate more. The reality is, human trafficking destroys the family structure. It became a blame game. Had the brother not given the 37,000, she wouldn't have had a passport, etc., etc., etc. So we walk fast because we want you to get the fullness of it. Could that have happened to you? Could that have happened to anybody you know? How easy it is to perpetrate human trafficking. But there's hope. I know it's a church and you preach hope daily. It could be that you really should have been promoted and you weren't. Could be that life is throwing curveballs. The reality is, whatever you do, don't ever give up. If you look closer, you'll realize that there's something happening. You realize the frog is about to be swallowed up by the stalk, correct? And what did the frog do? Made a very conscious decision. And it created an option. You can continue to try swallow, and you shall see. Or let me go and we shall both live. Life's lesson. What a life. So walking cross lights, we must remember, that's me. A round of applause, and can you help me with that? Can you? I urge you to. Transforming families, enriching lives. The enditNow. Love it. I like what the Seventh-day Church New York is doing. the Greenberg County. And I love what 7-Day Jamaica is doing. Can you imagine when 7-Day World take this mandate on? The end we should be seeing. Because we must end this heinous crime. We have no choice. And that's why we are going to talk the moments we have left through these. The main objective for this side is to really expose you to that basic understanding of what this crime is. I will highlight the roles and expectation, especially of the family structure in this fight, but more so the church. And I'll clearly show you the links between human trafficking and transnational organized crime. I'll tell you that terrorists are now doing human trafficking and have abandoned what they started doing. The Boko Haram group, remember, had taken away the 300 Chibok girls. Forced marriage represents a component part of what human trafficking is. There are 12 ways within which human trafficking manifests itself. Some of us are only familiar with sex trafficking, forced labor maybe. But did you know that people are pulling people down and retailing their body parts? It's called organ harvesting. It is believed that a kidney is valued on the black market about €200,000. And people want them. Remind me before the end to let out some secrets that the kids have. Adults, do you want me to reveal some? Do you want me to frankly tell you that some kids are no longer on Facebook, but they are in Moco Space? Did you know that? And the reason for Moco Space is because it doesn't allow things to be copied, printed, or saved. The kids are on the dark web, and that's where they are playing. So I have parental questions for you shortly. I urge you to walk with me through them. We'll talk about many things, but we are mindful of the time allocated. We'll tell you about Silk Road 2.0, and it's for you to Google as well. Possible solutions, and I place tips, available tips, so that you can protect yourself. We walk. Back then, the rocky period, organ harvesting, and this is what, and some of the crimes the Jamaica Constabulary Force had to treat with. These are new crimes. And guess what? They produced a different type of victim. The type of victimization that traffic victims go through, it's still something and a subject for academia. They have not closed the gap because they have not reached to a point where enough is there to research. However, having lived through these experiences and having gotten the second-hand trauma, I can tell you that it's not good. Right now, law enforcement across the world must subject the members who do these type of work to psychosocial care, psychological care. Because after a while, if you're not careful, you get subsumed within this. Trauma is dangerous. I'm talking about people who have tried to kill themselves after we rescue them more than 16 times. Why would a victim kill or try to after you're now safe? Anybody with the right answer? Go ahead. Embarrassed, come for something. Come for something. Clap them, now the winners must get clapped. So in somewhere, someplace right now is somebody who needs our help. Guess what? That person could very much be in this room right now. Did you know that when people see the world as going against them badly, that the refuge is the church? Do you know that gunmen come inside to take the blessings before they head out? Police in the same church taking the same blessing before they head out. So the victims oftentimes draw themselves into a congregation like this. But how do you know that there's somebody beside you right now who is smiling? That person is unhappy. How do you know? Can you remove that smile? Have you ever seen a smile that needs to be removed? We call it plastic. Yes. So we are going to populate you with information so that you can help to identify those such persons. All right? So we'll ask for a way forward, a kind of a plan of action. Gracias. Well, that's the only thing I tried to learn in Spanish. Is it really Spanish? Is there anybody in the church who speaks Spanish? Another language? Spanish only? Only Spanish? Great job. Good. So we want to speak to you, Spanish speaker, soonest. All right? So the way forward, we need a plan. And last month, was it, PS, when we had that conference, you called for a strategic framework to guide what we're doing. Because what we don't want is to mobilize resources and put it in the wrong area. You follow where I'm going? We want to know that this is where the resource, because it's limited, and we strategically place it there. But we can't do it alone, because too often you are within your own space. So we want people who are looking in to tell us, what is it that we can do to solve this crime? Any ideas? We'll pick them off you. So I was at a school, age 14 and down, the cohort that was listening to me. And at this stage, I told them that, guess what? We're fortunate to have one of the strongest legislation in the world. Finally, we are able to put away criminals if we're successful for a maximum of 30 years. So I heard the children saying, only that, sir? So I told them that that was the law and I had to follow it. But they gave me other ideas. You want me to tell you some of the things that they told me? Trust me, it's not fit for airplay nor church play. But they gave good ideas. So where are your kids now? Last night I was in St. Elizabeth and I asked a group of church leaders as well, where are their kids and grandchildren now? And a lot of them said at home. And I was happy for the response. Because at home nowadays, for us, means very safe. Did you know that because we have been so generous, because my parents didn't have it to give, and wouldn't give if they had, we all populate the kids with smartphones, don't we? And we feel so cool when we can WhatsApp them and get them, correct? Call them and they call us, don't it? Cool. Happy. My question to the church and the parents directly, if you had a 2018 Mercedes-Benz 4MATIC, would you give your 14-year-old child to drive to Montego Bay? Possibly from Kingston? That was no instantaneous without thoughts. What about a loaded gun though? Would you? You wouldn't? But would you give them a smartphone? Let me just drink, look at the thing. Yes. Ponder on it. Just crack the half-hour mark. Is this my clock? Is it? My clock. All right. Brilliant. So the last time I checked, there was a manual for the Mercedes. I checked and found one for the 9mm pistol. But where is the one for the internet again? So the kids are now all of a sudden in a world by themselves. To the point where if you try to kill them, they won't know. But if you try to pick up the cell phone, they know. Have you ever tried Dephoning, because that's a word now we are using. A child? Anybody? It's almost world war, you know. And the hatred that will follow is going to be significant into your later years to come, you know. So we are forced to leave them with this gadget. I love this. I love it because this is now time for us to end one conversation and start a new one. We have been parenting incorrectly for too long. And all I'm saying is no disrespect to traditional thoughts. But there comes a time when it collides with what's current. And you must take the leap. It's a journey. I urge you to walk with me. So your kids are right now on the dark web. And some don't even know that they're on. Have you parents, any one of you, with a show of fingers, ever gone on the dark web? Oh, I should have asked the other question. I didn't want to be half rude by asking if you really know what it is, because that's always a rude question. But should I ask it? Anyone of you know? Good job. No, I'm not asking the kids anything about it, you know. Because you are here, they are not going to really quickly put up. They won't lie, but they're not going to admit. But when we're on the dark web searching for criminals, we see your kids. And your kids can't see us. And your kids are telling everything about you. I hate mother. One person was saying, we'll kill my father, and we have solved cases just by being there. Now, there are about 7 stages to the dark web. There's one stage where people are pay-per-view. And guess who oversubscribes mainly? Your children. My kids. And how do we parent a world of the unknown? Because right now, you're happy that the child is locked away in the room, don't it? Yes. You are so glad the person passed 16 without becoming pregnant. You are glad, don't it? Be mindful that a new conversation must start tonight. And I'll tell you some things to tell your kids. Fair enough? One of them, and I'll start because time will not be friendly, by telling that there is no way that you should be taking a photograph of you that you won't be happy about or happy seeing later on. If you are about to take a photograph that you think your enemy would love to see, then stop. Do not take it, because what goes on the internet stays forever on the internet. So slavery, it's called by many names. Human trafficking, trafficking in human beings, trafficking in person. It's called slavery, it's called modern day slavery, same thing. It is almost everywhere, and I shall say it's now everywhere. Depending on how conservative you want to look at it, it brings money in. And these are yearly, annualized figures. We're talking about world facts. It has progressed on the back end of poverty. It is said that where there is poverty, human trafficking exists. My quick question to you is, do you think we have poverty in Jamaica? Do I need to ask the follow-up question then? We have to date rescued in excess of 86 victims of human trafficking, thanks to the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Person and the forcefulness within which this fight is being fought. We were able to not only rescue, but repatriate many, reunite several more. And I recall that we were alerted to a situation, and in our Grand Old Portmore, there was an Italian who was tricked to come here and exploited. We rescued him. At cost, we put him up. He's now back in Italy safely. We're saying kudos to all those who made it possible. And kudos to UPS for staying there the course with us. And all others who continue this fight. We love it. Modern ICT platform that would have triggered situations like social media. We are now in a new trouble phase. So you can't tell kids, don't talk to strangers. Is that relevant anymore based on what we have created? Know who your friends are, and you don't know who your Facebook friends are. How do you talk to a child who they want to take from it everything that they can? As a result, we launched Operation ID Fix and Operation Uplift. And what we found was significant when we went across the island. 116, that's the number of go-go clubs we found. Many we closed. All I'm saying is that we have imposed ourselves practically in, proactively as well in. We have displaced 3 prostitution rings across the island. One on Gloucester Avenue in Montego Bay and others. Permanently closed 3 buildings that were being used to exploit females in particular. And one has already been demolished. All I'm saying is that behind the scenes, which shouldn't be behind the scenes, because if the church and others help us to amplify this, then we should be seeing this information as the front page and not necessarily back page. No serious pun intended in that regard. So what does it look like? Jamaica is regarded as a source destination country for adults and children, and you could read along. We are no longer seen as a transit country, and that's also an achievement. Because back then we were a transit country. As it suggests, source means from whence people come, and destination where they are found. Fair enough? All right, so we know of what is happening in our neck of the woods, right? We know of Syria. We also know of Venezuela, correct? And we know that the current global displacement of population would have seen criminals pouncing. So you have people under the guise of wanting to move you through migration from one country to the next, going on to exploit you through human trafficking. Everybody, it seems, wants a better life, and people will move for that. So the United Nations reacted, and in the year 2000, they did this. That protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in person, especially those who traffic women and children. It's heart-wrenching when we see the kids. I recall, P.S., I hope you are, with recall as well, that we were alerted to the fact that 21 Honduran kids were picked up at sea by our counterpart in the military. The Coast Guard took them ashore. Weren't totally sure at the time what it was, but knew something was wrong. Connections were made. And guess what happened? We found out that the kids were victims of human trafficking. Ages 13 to 15, 21 of them were working 18 hours per day for 3 weeks at a time and were paid $20 for that. They had visible gunshot wounds all over their bodies. The life at sea. We rang up PS. We needed urgent help. And it was in the December period, that festive period, when everybody else found themselves merrymaking. We found ourselves trying to make 21 lives better. We were able to accomplish that at huge cost. But all I am saying is that can allow something like this to continue. And guess what they were doing? And lobster. Now, when was the last time, I know the church wouldn't engage this church, correct? But I know that there are people who order like that. And it's always the top price somewhere. We must stop things like those from happening. So help came through the UN. And it asks us smartly as law enforcement officers to tell the world that we must come together swiftly to ensure that we change the conversation by starting this hashtag or any hashtag. Remember, you have hashtag #MeToo and hashtag #MeToo1. We want maybe the church to start an hashtag. Imagine if the Seventh-day Adventist Church starts an hashtag, and could it be our daughters? We have enough experience to tell. So guess what is happening? And I'm loving the time. I'm walking with it slowly in. You realize? Loving it. What do you think children do online for prizes? Nobody want the prize? Go ahead. You have to speak up. Come take up something. What do children do online? Come for something same way, yes. You must clap them in a church, man. What do children do online? Come for something, come for something. People come for something soon done at the time, you know. Huh? Come tell me. What them do? Take something. We not tell them if we secret that. Yes, let them run them. See things ain't no squaddy. Take something. Yes, please. All right, I will. You know what kids do online? Come for something. Yeah. You know? Huh? Squaddy, take up something. And then the last one, take up something. And you say anything and take up something. Yes. Take up something, Squaddy. All right, that's it for now. Next thing. These are the things that kids do, though. I told you I was letting out the secret. So on Facebook, they friend and befriend, and they call it friending, new word. Instagram, they follow people. Twitter, and YouTube video sharing. And the worst part of YouTube is that through kick.com, they create videos of themselves doing bad stuff. And then upload it through YouTube video sharing sites. But the reason you can't see it is because you don't know how to use the internet. And they have private groups. But they don't know that we have the skills to pick that up. And criminals have the equipment to do that. So kids do stuff. Parents, did you know that kids give away all of these online? Did you know they give away your number too? Your personal details? And what if your brother is a police and your child puts his picture up, and because of that they located him for murder? Would any blame come? Food for thought. So we urge people to remember the conversation must be to kids. That first, your profile picture can never be in your school uniform. You should never even have your pictures up as your profile, because that's dangerous. And for general speaking, we have the comic books now. Brilliant. So we have things for kids and things for adults. Tell kids in your discussion tonight that online chat and online sharing has positives, but guess what? Negatives as well. Ask kids to find out what exists before they agree. So before they accept a friend's request, tell them to know who is the person. And that under no circumstances Must they give out personal details? It's not necessary online. Check with parents, before posting any picture. Kids must know. And do not post inappropriate pictures of anything online. Did you know the youths are in trouble? Massive increase in internet use. The criminals have increased and ramped up efforts in recruitment online. Revenge porn, where people who no longer are in relationships share bad things about each other. Careless misuse or use of this. And did you remember that there's no privacy or privacy online? Please, it's food for thought. So, have you ever used the internet? Have you? What about the perfect parent? Can I find one inside here? Do we have parents? Can I see the show of hands? Brilliant. Can you rest them down? Kids, I want you to look to see if your parents' hands going up. Let me see the show of hands for the perfect parent. There's no? Absolutely true. No parent is going to be perfect. You'll likely make mistakes. Big ones, small ones. But just remember, it's normal, but should not be encouraged. If you do it badly, all the while you'll be in trouble. And trust me, it can destroy. So what if you fail to parent right? You could have these negative results. Can you imagine even a combination of that in a 15-year-old? These are the kids we get now to police. Remember that if you are negative and continue to be negative, it can inspire hopelessness within the child. The family must remember that all we require of you is proactive parenting. And what if we do it right? End result. Can you imagine if these are the kids that we get to police? So we are urging parents to do it right. Instill positives. Teach the kids that yes, they are technologically savvy, but they are inexperienced. Tell them, because they'll know if you are sincere. Can you imagine wanting a better world? Sadly, this is the now reality. This female had enough Facebook friends. She actually had 2,210, and she wanted one more. This tough back man like myself, because I'm looking through the church and I realize I'm one of the older set of people inside here. And I saw smiles. And I'm going to challenge the people inside here. My grandson is 15 years old. Does that make me a senior person, if not a senior citizen? And of course, mistakes could have been made, but it's mine. And the reality is, I thank God every day for blessings. Little ear dye and some luck. Yes, keep me alive. So I'm senior in here. Did you know, whilst we warm down the machine, we are going to allow a few questions to come to us, because I think it's important, and we have a band of some minutes to spare, so that we can have you gauge your learning. Fair enough? So globally, kids are trafficked and placed in sweatshops. On construction sites, I saw a picture of a child moving half of a cement bag, a little one. And the pitney move about 3 steps and drop them, lick the pitney and say, get up. And the pitney had to go and come back, you know, because it's a day's work and no pay. In houses as domestic servants, on streets as child beggars. In Europe now they have taken the Nigerian kids and have them on the street begging. And people are likely to give them money. And the criminal group take it and give them just something to keep them moving. We're seeing children in wars fighting, and they are the most brutal on farms and on PS. John, we have seen that. Sadly and unfortunately, these are the realities. So I'm going to tell you all the ways in which trafficking can manifest itself. Any five, it doesn't matter which. Five only? Five what day? You win, man. You know, see you win by just getting up, man. Yeah, man, so you win. That's how easy it is to win. Around here, yes. You just need to get up and get, yes. All right, so time is going, and we have loads of prizes, which means that you might not get one. So let's go. Who's going to tell me? I start. Sex trafficking is one. Child trafficking, the other. And child is a person under the age of 18. Forced labor, where people are forced to till work. Domestic servitude. You work in the home especially. You do the menial jobs. Debt bondage, where a perceived debt is owed, or a real debt, but with a big interest rate. Yes. Child soldiers, we discussed that. Forced marriages, we discussed that. Forced begging, organ harvesting, organ transplant, human trafficking, and sex tourism. So those who are sitting Cape and other subject area and doing the home and family life subject will encounter these in the human trafficking component. Those with tablets, you'll see the docudrama. And please urge your school to show the docudrama, especially when they have downtime. The movie called Rescue. When we showed it to the United Nations, they welcomed it with open arms. My people, I'll end on this slide for you to give me your questions. Are there any questions coming? Do we have questions? Brilliant. Can somebody push the mic around? I think we have a few. Go ahead, start the question. I'll amplify it if anything. Go ahead. Go ahead, I'll amplify it. No, say it because I want PS to hear that part. No, turn on the mic, squaddy. Yes. Still no mic. Take my own because I want PS to hear this part. Take my own. Mic start now.
I am very much interested in this topic. Haven't become so aware this afternoon. I've often, gotten bits and pieces here and there, but this is my first time getting it, the high percentage that I'm getting it this afternoon. And I'm now asking, working with the community in Manchester, the Manchester Community Development Committee, one of my assignments is to work with early childhood schools. Now, I would like to to do something with the parents of these small children. And I'm so excited. How can you help me go back to Manchester to get our parents of age children between up to age 5, 6 the latest, get this kind of information so we can save more of our children?
Brilliant. We are ready. Just tell us the date. Have I answered that question? Brilliant. So we will help you. Take this number. It's 3609716. And we'll time those to man. So the dark web, I'll start with that, is a virtual space. You're familiar with the internet, correct? And you know that if you Google something, everything seems to come up. And you can't finish read off that one thing. So if you type in goat, you can't finish read off goat until you die. I can tell you that. Words, engine, everything telling you about goat. Research, paper, everything. Now, on that side of the internet, most of us can access by just typing Google or whatever. But there's a bigger side of the internet called the dark web. And another part called the deep web. Both are virtual spaces, just like the regular web. But it was created to hide. So only nefarious activities go on under that and in that space. So criminal bypasses traditional law enforcement by using the dark web. So right now, if I had time, which I don't, and if I had space, which I don't, and the internet, which I don't, I would have logged on to the dark web. And I would have given you a classic example of how it works. Here's how it works. I could type in, I want a 12-year-old girl to be taken to me at this church this evening at 9 p.m. And all you'll get coming back at me is people asking, what size 12-year-old? What complexion 12-year-old? And we go to the finer details as to fat or slim. And once I agree, they ask me what I want to do with the 12. And once I tell them, they price it. And once they price it, I'm asked to pay, but not by cash, but using bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies. No, there are people who are unfamiliar with what cryptocurrency is. It is virtual money. Again, that's another thing that you still don't know what that means. And that's how it is. But it is the absence of paper using the same framework, except though it doesn't get corrected in any bank. It doesn't get settled. And there are no fees associated with the transaction. And better yet, it's hard to steal. Just recently they stole some. But it's almost impossible for you to lose it unless you have forgotten your password. So how it works, I create an electronic wallet, and it has a code, and you create one as well. I mine bitcoins or buy them because they are sold even here. Microsoft uses them. PayPal uses them. And I transfer from my account using the internet to your account. So here now, I pay the criminal for the 12-year-old. And you would have thought that that 12-year-old wouldn't come, right? Because the criminal should be mindful that I could have been a police, right? Well, mark my word, that you'll see at 9 p.m. that 12-year-old wasn't in. And she would get instructions to do what? Follow my instructions. And if she failed to follow my instructions, guess what happens? And that could mean to your immediate family, others in the family. So the kids, like lamb to the slaughter, head there. Lastly, because I must end, I must remind parents and teachers that there is a new thing in school that makes the students cool. It's called lean. It is a mixture of cough syrup and Sprite. And when they're finished with it, your daughter transforms from who she was to what she has become. Food for thought. May I end now?
Ladies and gentlemen, we were told to end for Vesper. And so we are being obedient. I want to thank DSP Berry for coming to do the bulk of the presentation for me. I like DSP doing the presentations because he's down out there. You know, I'm in an office or I'm at home getting phone calls, but he's out there getting the real McCoy. And so I want you to get real information. So let me invite you to express your thanks to DSP Berry. We take all requests for presentations, all requests. Don't ask us how we do it. We have yet to refuse one. It is our mission to get Jamaica ready, to fight for Jamaica, and to play its part in the fight for the world. So, if you want more, you have your church leaders here, or you know how the drill works, and you can ask them to invite us back. I want to thank Sister Vernal for the opportunity for us to have been here this afternoon to share with you. We still have some comic books, which if you are teachers in schools or parents who want to have comic books for their children, you can collect them. We have T-shirts and so on. But I would suspect that would be after the Vesper service. Thank you very much. Thank you, DSP.
Thank you for staying with us here at Kentcourt Seventh-day Adventist Church as we come to the close of our Family and End It Now conference. It was indeed a wonderful day, Keon.
It was quite informative. I learned a lot. This morning's program was a journey to intimacy and communicating with grace.
Yes, we also spoke about forgiveness. We spoke about the beauty and the importance of forgiveness in our marriages and all our relationships. Yes. And this afternoon we spoke about the illusion of love,
which was very well done.
Yes.
Dispelled some of the myths that we have about what love is. One of the most profound statements is love is a decision. It's not a feeling. And then we got into the meat of the matter with human trafficking.
Yes.
That was an eye-opener.
It was an eye for many persons. Yes. Many persons were learning about the dark web, the deeper web,
yes.
How children are marketed across these platforms.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the most important things, and I think should have been reiterated, is the internet can't be a substitute for parenting.
No.
You have to spend time with your children.
Yes.
Persons were asking about security measures. The best security is to be there with your child when you're on the internet.
And also find other activities. Take your child's eyes from off the screens. Because prior to tablets and computers and phones, and prior to the birth or the burst in technology, we had other ways to spend time with our children, play with them, take them outside, let them see the sunshine, let them experience it. So that's one of the best security measures that we can have. Also, monitor your children's activities, all their activities. They're your children, they're your responsibility. So it doesn't matter if they might feel as if you're invading their privacy.
You're still the parent.
You're still the parent.
It was a day well spent. Yes. I do hope for you, the viewers, that you took something from these presentations and that you can apply it to your day-to-day life. And because what we're doing, we're striving for God's kingdom. It's not going to be easy, but we have to get there. And iron sharpeneth iron. Yes. And we hope that the presentations for today's service was a blessing unto you. So on behalf of the entire production crew, for EJC as well as our
Jamaican Union
Union as well, for putting this program together, Dr. Willie and Elaine Oliver, and as well as our other co-hosts who are not here this evening. Have a blessed week and pleasant viewing.
Good evening.